What if you could solve two of modern industry's biggest, most expensive problems with just a single process? Well, today we're going to dive into a technology that does exactly that. It takes wasted clean energy, something that's become a huge headache for power grids, and uses it to produce one of the world's most critical metals. This is the story of how a forgotten process got a 21st century upgrade, creating a really powerful new investment opportunity.
So this is the big question, right? This is what unlocks the whole thing. What if we could just stop throwing away perfectly good, clean power? And what if, at the same time, we could turn that liability into a high-value, strategic material that our most important industries are absolutely desperate for? This isn't just some hypothetical. It's the very core of a super compelling business model we're about to break down.
Okay, so what we're looking at here are two massive crises that, believe it or not, are basically two sides of the same coin. Over on the left, you've got renewables. Now, we love them, but when the sun is shining too bright or the wind is blowing too hard, the grid just can't handle it. Operators are forced to just dump that power. They call it curtailment. It gets so bad, the prices can actually go negative. Yeah, you heard that right. Producers literally have to pay people to take their electricity. That's billions of dollars of clean energy just gone. Then, on the right, we've got magnesium, a metal that's absolutely vital for things like lightweight cars and airplanes. The problem? 90% of it comes from a dirty, carbon-heavy process, creating huge supply chain and carbon risks for our economies.
Now, the solution here, and this is the really cool part, doesn't come from some brand new sci-fi invention. It actually comes from rediscovering something old. We're talking about a technology from the World War II era, powerful, yeah, but also deeply flawed, that has now been completely reimagined for the green energy age.
So this was the original Permanente process, and honestly, it was a total brute force approach. They'd superheat magnesium oxide and coke to create a magnesium gas. But here's the catch, the fatal flaw. To stop that reaction from just reversing itself as it cooled, they had to flood the whole system with a truly insane amount of natural gas. We're talking 20 times the volume of the actual product. It was wildly inefficient, super wasteful, and they only got about 80% of the metal back. I mean, it worked for a wartime emergency, but it was just way too clumsy for the modern world.
So the key thing to understand, the real scientific ghost in the machine, was this thing called the back reaction. Basically, if you let that super hot gas mixture cool down too slowly, the magnesium and the carbon monoxide just get back together and turn right back into the stuff you started with. All that energy you put in, wasted, and your metal yield just plummets. This one single problem is the reason this powerful technology sat on a shelf for decades.
So you can see that solving that back reaction was everything. And this is the breakthrough that changes the whole game. The answer wasn't more brute force. It was about being incredibly fast and, well, scientifically elegant.
And this is just brilliant. Instead of flooding the system with gas, the new process injects just a tiny amount of a special liquid coolant. This liquid hits that 2,000-degree gas and instantly vaporizes, expanding its volume by about 170 times. It creates this kind of controlled explosion, an incredibly turbulent event that flash cools the magnesium from a gas to a solid in a fraction of a second. The back reaction just doesn't even have time to happen. Problem solved.
And here it is, the whole modernized process in action, and it's just so much more efficient. The hot gas gets mixed with the liquid coolant. The magnesium instantly condenses into these little solid particles, which are easily filtered out. Then the system recycles the coolant back into a liquid, leaving behind pure carbon monoxide gas, which is actually a valuable byproduct. Finally, you just melt down the magnesium fines and cast them into pure ingots. It's a clean, high-yield, totally closed-loop system.
Now, a brilliant piece of engineering is one thing, but how does it actually make money? This is where the whole thing gets really clever. The technology's flexibility creates an entirely new business model, the power sink.
Just think about that number for a second. -$20 per megawatt hour. In markets that are flooded with renewables, grid operators will literally pay you to take electricity off their hands. This process is designed to be a massive, flexible sponge that can soak up power precisely when prices are at zero or even negative. It completely flips the #1 cost for almost any industrial process, energy, and turns it into a potential revenue stream.
This chart really tells the whole story. Look at the bar on the left. That's the traditional way to make magnesium. And see that huge chunk for energy cost? It dominates everything. Now, look to the right. With this new process, the energy cost doesn't just disappear. It flips over and becomes a revenue line item. And then you just stack more revenue on top of that from selling the carbon monoxide, and even more for helping to stabilize the grid. The entire economic model is just turned completely upside down.
So let's just quickly break down these value streams, because this is what makes the business model so strong. You're not relying on just one thing. You make money from energy arbitrage, buying power when it's dirt cheap or even getting paid for it. You get paid for providing grid stabilization services. You sell the high-value magnesium, of course. You sell the CO byproduct to companies making e-fuels. And on top of all that, you've got the potential for government subsidies for producing a critical mineral right here at home. It's a multi-layered model that's built to be robust.
So for anyone invested in the energy ecosystem, the benefits here are just crystal clear. You're creating a new, profitable customer for surplus renewable power. That reduces waste, it smooths out those wild price swings, and it makes the entire grid more stable and reliable. This isn't just a magnesium plant. It's a critical piece of grid infrastructure that literally pays for itself in multiple different ways.
Okay, so the technology is sound, the business case is incredibly compelling. The final piece of the puzzle for any investor is always the same. What's the path forward? What's the roadmap to get this thing built and operating at scale?
First things first, let's talk risk, because any new process has them. The key thing here is that the risks are well understood and they've been systematically knocked down. You might ask, is it scalable? Yep, the core chemistry was already proven at a huge scale back in the 1940s. What about that pesky back reaction? That's been completely solved by the rapid quenching innovation. And the equipment itself? It's all based on commercially available, off-the-shelf industrial hardware. This is all about clever integration, not about inventing some exotic new machine from scratch.
And here's the concrete path forward. The provisional patent was filed in late 2025, which locks down the core intellectual property. The very next step, in 2026, is a $20 million raise to build a pilot plant and complete a full feasibility study. That pilot will run through 2028, proving out the tech and the economics at scale. This whole process systematically de-risks the project, paving the way for the design and financing of the very first full-scale commercial plant starting in 2029. It's a clear, staged, and totally credible path to market. And we'll end on this direct call to action from the inventor himself, Dr. Robert Odle. This isn't just an interesting idea on a whiteboard anymore. It's a developed, patent-pending technology with a clear roadmap, and it's now actively looking for the right partners to help build it. It's an opportunity to invest in a single solution that tackles the future of our energy grid and the security of our most critical industrial supply chains, all at the same time.